Hey guys and gals, Latif Kadri here, BDG Insider. Quick tip. I know I bitch a lot about the sales department and F&I and all that jazz, but I gotta tell you, what gets my goat is the service department. An opportunity in a department to make so much money, and when you pull in, and I'm saying this from personal experience, not being at a dealership watching somebody, that I've got a target on their back. I'm talking about I go into any dealership, and, well, I shouldn't say any, but majority of the dealerships I go into, you watch a customer pull up, or if I go into a dealership and I pull up myself, you're out there waiting, you're standing by your car, you're playing with your radio, I'm getting my stuff together, and nobody comes out to greet me. Now, I know that there's the rare exception out there in some of the bigger dealerships of the world where, they'll have a greeter at there, if the advisors are busy, especially in your highline environments, but in just your normal mom and pop environments, especially in these stores that typically retail, 100 cars a month, 80 cars a month, you're in rural Indiana or you're somewhere in Arizona or Arkansas, you want to make sure that as a service advisor, or if you're a service manager or a GM watching this, you want to make sure that your service advisors have a little bit of that spunk that, the sales department has, where they'll give a proper meet and greet to a customer and then do a walk around in the car, checking the headlights, checking the tires, checking the wipers, doing the basics, kind of planting the seeds for the upsell going down the road. Instead of just hitting the customer with the bill on, hey, listen, this is what it's going to cost for this, and this, and you've already hit them at a high line item, and you're going back and you're trying to bump them for, the little stuff, the wipers, the little stuff that, adds up at the end of the month, and you're going to get a lot of declines on that. So you got to start planting that seed in the service drive and having some excitement, some personality when the customer comes in. The shame is that we spend so much money to drive traffic into the front end of the store, and in some of these environments, especially high volume ones, our margins are so thin, and we rely heavily on F&I to make it up, and we cut advertising, we cut pay plans for salespeople, so then we have attrition and retention issues, and then we want to pencil our sales managers, and the good guys leave, they know what they're doing, and at the end of the day, the service department, where we have a captive audience and the drive coming there, we don't spend the time to train our guys, we don't put them in service, our service managers in 20 groups to go out and learn, some innovation, some other ideas, some best practices. These things make all the difference in the world. You keep that machine running on the front end, and on the back end, you make sure your people have that right personality and are trained properly. You're going to make all kinds of money, and you're going to keep those customers near and dear to you. And I know that a lot of the factories, when I was a Nissan guy, they put heavy emphasis on making sure that customer came to the store, X number of times, and they were married to you. So, if you've got a guy who's got a sourpuss attitude in the service drive, I mean, there's 30 other stores in a saturated market that they can go to. So you want to make sure that customer experience is good. And it doesn't just start in the service drive with a service advisor. It carries into the, whoever is in the waiting area and how the waiting area is staged and set up. If it's a filthy mess with burnt coffee, an empty vending machine from the 1980s, get your shit together. This is the show. We got to give the customers the show. When I take my car to the service department, I go to Fields BMW here in Orlando, you pull into that store, I got to tell you, you get greeted the right way. The service advisor, my guy, is the bomb. He really does his deal. Takes care of you, keeps in communication with you constantly. The store, they've obviously invested big money to make sure that the customers are happy. They got a little restaurant, they got 5 or 6 different kind of coffees, this, that, and the other. And at the end of the day, that's all like frill and fuzz, but really more than anything, it's the customer experience. In that store, as a matter of fact, I've had a harder time with the salespeople, when I'm wandering the showroom waiting for my car, I've had a harder time talking to the salespeople there than when I'm in the service department. The people in the service department are like your best friends. They're checking on you. I mean, I don't know what kind of CRM they're running over there, but I'll tell you, when I pull in, they ask about my kids. My service advisor remembered the situation with my wife. We've had a bond, and, it's a whole different ballgame. And that's the kind of experience that keeps people going back, to buy cars, to bring in the friends and family, to really, work on that branding, that social branding, that word-of-mouth branding that we all want so much, So, and again, usually in the service department, there's only 2 or 3 people that are customer facing. So invest in these people. Incentivize them. Show them what a good job looks like. Set the expectation and manage it. What gets measured gets managed. Set some KPIs. What are the indicators you're looking for? What are the key performance indicators you're looking for in your environment in the service department outside of just, okay, your CSI numbers were good and that's it. Because let's face it, there's still creative guys out there that are dancing around that number. But at the end of the day, unless you have customer retention and your RO count is growing and your dollars, our dollars are growing back there, you and I both know it's all just a smoke screen. So you know what? Get back there and spend some time. General managers, dealers, I compel you to go back there and watch what your people are doing. Because I'll tell you something. I remember, when I would take over, when I was a new GM, in a store, I would be at that service department first thing in the morning. I want to see what time my guys are getting there. What time my advisor's there. Is my manager opening the shop, or is he running GM schedule? Showing up at 8:50, 8:45, just in time. Is he there running the deal? Is he a platoon leader, or is he a 5-star general, right? Make sure he's in there doing his deal. So I compel you guys to invest the time, invest the training, and measure and manage your people in your service drive. I'll tell you what, it'll pay you back big, big money.